Howdy, and welcome once again to the veritable edge of Western civilization and the life of the artist, David Alexander English. And so there's something I've been trying to avoid doing since I was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma on September 19th. And I've been symptomatic for over a year if you're just catching up. And one of the main reasons why I'm doing this video is to kind of clarify, after the last update I did last week, I've been trying to avoid creating a GoFundMe page, but I'll get into what's happening. So this video is going to be part of the GoFundMe page pitch. I was hoping to avoid that because it seems like everybody and their uncle these days has a GoFundMe page, and one of the main reasons is, especially makes sense given the fact that recent statistics say that 38% of women and 42% of men have or will be diagnosed with cancer in the United States. So that's the world we're living in now. But this is my turn, and so last week I had an appointment with a doctor, oncologist, to go over what my treatment options are and to review the results of the PET scan that was done on October 17th. And the results of that showed that some really kind of encouraging things. One, that the cancer hadn't spread to any other parts of my body, and they staged it, which means that in the stage game of 1 to 4, it's between 2 and 3, so I'm calling it 2-ish because I like to play with this stuff if I can. Still on the hunt for the best cancer joke. I haven't found any really yet, but there are some funny moments in all of this. So 2-ish, and what I said at the time, I'm going to reiterate. We had a really great meeting, and we came to an understanding of how I wanted to proceed. What they're recommending is 10 weeks of radiation 5 days a week, and 3 main large doses of some form of chemotherapy. And I actually met with a woman who would be administering the chemotherapy. And they can break it up into smaller doses by the week, but we'll see how it goes, if that's what I choose to do, if that becomes necessary. So what I communicated with her is that I would like to have that whole thing be a plan B, and my goal is to do whatever I can to make that course of treatment unnecessary. And I said to her, when would you want to begin? And she said, we could begin in December, but because the holidays are happening, it could wait until the beginning of January. So that gives me, 2 months to try more of these naturopathic solutions that I'm working on, and to move the needle. And obviously the goal is, as I said, I'm going to say it again, is to try to make rads and poisons, radiation and chemotherapy unnecessary if possible. And so I have an appointment scheduled with her on December 6th, and we'll revisit and see if we managed to move the needle. Luckily, as I've said in some of these past, I'm in a really good place as far as here in LA on the west side. I have some good friends with some tools. My friend Heidi Henkel, who has a 20-year acupuncture practice up in the Palisades there. There's the Palisades in the background. Has a sensitive imago machine, which is a bioresonance machine that can essentially, it can diagnose what vibratory frequencies there are of maladies and health in your system, and it can actually treat by reversing and providing you with whatever vibratory frequencies you need to reverse said maladies. So she has done, we met in last February, and she did the first scan in June before this diagnosis, and just as an introduction to the technology. And she has done, since the diagnosis, she's done, I think, 3 more scans. And so we have all of those to compare. And the last scan was, I think it was the day, it was 2 days before my meeting with the oncologist, and showed that there was some progress in reversing some of the maladies that are, what it showed is that there are 5 different viruses that are taxing my immune system. 2 forms of streptococcus, 1 form of staph, the HPV virus, and herpes, genital herpes. That's herpes simplex 2. And that they are specifically, and could show you where in the body they are too, and they're specifically in my lymph system. And this is this thing on my neck. I don't know if you can see. There's 4 lymph nodes here, and 3 of them are swollen. The one in the front is really swollen, and luckily they haven't hurt at all through this whole thing, and the one in the front has been swollen for over a year now. And so my theory is that they're congested, and so I'm putting some stuff on it to try to uncongest it, and I'm doing some other things I'll talk about in a minute to try to support them in doing their job. So luckily with Heidi's machine, I can see what's happening with regards to those viruses that are taxing my immune system and keeping it from focusing entirely on getting rid of the cancer. At the same time, we discovered that somebody else knew it all along, was that cancer cells secrete a substance that blocks the immune system from knowing that they don't belong there and to fight them. And so I started taking, about 2.5 weeks ago, I started taking black seed oil, which is said to interdict that little process, so that what it does is it inhibits the secretion of whatever those substances are that the cancer cells secrete to make themselves invisible to the immune system, so that the immune system can then do its job. And I've been meaning to make a list of everything that I've done. Actually, today I took a photograph. I'm going to post after this of all the gel caps and vitamins and stuff. It's like it's a full handful of stuff that I'm taking to mostly for immune support. So my strategy is this. Obviously, I'm taking things to support my immune system. The first thing I did was to alkalize my system, and now I'm pretty on top of that. And the main way that I did that was by putting a half teaspoon of baking soda in 8 ounces of water and shooting it down every 2 to 3 hours. I'm saying a half because all the time I was using this spoon, I thought it was a full teaspoon, and I just noticed the other day that it's only a half teaspoon. So it only takes, the good news is it only takes a half a teaspoon. Actually I was doing two of those flat level half teaspoons, so that's a level teaspoon, and in 8 ounces of water, and that'll do it. It's only taken 3 treatments of that, 3 shots of that over about 5 hours to make my system around have a pH of 9. So that was the first thing that I did, was focus on maintaining alkalinity, because we know that cancer can't survive in an alkaline environment. So I want to make my body as inhospitable to the spread of cancer as I possibly can, and that's why the maintaining alkalinity. So I mean, you can eat things that are acidic, like tomatoes, for instance, and just check yourself afterwards. Because I have a thing, man. I gotta have lycopene every once in a while. I gotta have some tomato sauce on something, and and then check yourself afterwards, and then do another shot of the alkalinity treatment, and you're good to go. So my strategy is this: if I can, is to support my immune system as much as I possibly can, eating lots of beets and whatnot, all red foods, be a blueberry monster, eat as many blueberries as I possibly can, and through all these different there's different mushrooms and mushroom mixtures that I'm using that are said to support the immune system and kill cancer cells and all that, and I'll go through that I am this week going to make that list of all the stuff that I'm taking, and post it before the next video. So immune support, there are certain things that I'm going to do that are specifically to light up the cancer, so the immune system can react to it. And there are certain things that I can do that have the potential of actually eliminating the cancer alone. Like chemotherapy is one of those, where it doesn't matter what your immune system's doing. It's designed to attack and eliminate the cancer itself directly, and essentially circumventing the immune system, that's not ideal for me, because there are people that have they've gone through chemo, and then years later they get cancer again, and sometimes the same exact cancer comes back, and their immune system never learned how to deal with it and deal with the precancerous stages, so they're back in the same place that they were. So my goal is to try to give my immune system an opportunity to learn how to eliminate this. And so that's there's 3 things. 1, immune support. 2, giving the immune system an opportunity to learn how to eliminate this, and 3, to attack the cancer directly with different therapies. Now, as I said to her, obviously, the chemo and radiation are my plan B. My plan A at this time, given the fact that they wouldn't even start for another 2 months, is to use this 2 months instead of like sitting on my hands and waiting 2 months till they're ready to do whatever they're going to do. My goal is to be as proactive and aggressive with these naturopathic therapies as I possibly can. And that means specifically, like, there is this substance that I've been using. I had a 4-ounce bottle of it, and it's called blushwood berry. It's from Northern Australia, and it specifically has proven effective with skin cancers, and squamous cell apparently it can manifest as a skin cancer, and so it's one of the cancers that this blushwood berry is been shown not only to effective against, but it's also shown if you take massive doses of it, between 2 and 4 ounces a day, that it can actually, within 2 weeks, it supposedly can make the cancer fall off. So I've ordered a large 16 ounces of it. I'm going to break it up into, for 8 days, I'm going to take 2 ounces a day to see if it moves the dial at all. And because the stuff is kind of expensive. I think a gallon of it is like $400. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an investment. So I'm going to do a small trial and see if it has an effect. Sorry. There's some encouraging signs that it might have an effect. If you watched any of the earlier videos, about 2 weeks ago, I started bleeding from the mouth, and my throat started bleeding, and it was kind of a shocking experience and challenging, because it's just like if somebody turned a faucet on in the back of your throat and you're just like guzzling blood. It was really intense. Sorry to kind of weird you out, but that happened about 3 minutes after I had taken a large dose of the blushwood berry. So one of the things, either the cancer itself had spread to hit a blood vessel, or there's a possibility that this growth in the back of my throat, I can't even show it to you, and I would, because it's pretty gnarly looking. It's not just one growth, it's like this whole complex of weirdness. And if you go back and listen to these different videos, you can actually kind of tell. I can't listen to these videos because my voice sounds really weird to me, and not just because it's me shooting a video. It's I know that this growth has changed the shape of my vocal cavity, and it's changed my voice. And so anyway, this either it hit a blood vessel, the cancer was spread to a blood vessel, or a piece fell off. And so that's kind of encouraging, but also it was kind of a shock, because it's that was the day that shit got real for me, and I said as much at the time. I've had a couple of experiences like that since. One when I went up in altitude, about 2,400 feet, to this hot spring, and I just jumped out of the car and started hiking, and had to stop and wait till I stopped bleeding, basically, and it may be happening more regularly on a smaller scale, way in the back of my throat. So I haven't told anybody about that, so now it's out there, and that's what's happening. So this week has been really one of the more challenging weeks of since this whole thing started, and for a number of reasons, not the least of which has been this kind of acceleration. There's the past couple of days, I've been really lucky, very lucky so far, that I haven't had a whole lot of pain. And the past couple of days, it's started to hurt more. And so there's that. And see, now it's like, I don't know if the hurting, the pain, and the bleeding are a good thing, like things are getting better. I'm actually able to feel stuff and whatnot. I don't know if it's because the immune system is actually starting to do its job, or if things are getting worse. I don't know. But what I can gauge, I've been in touch with Heidi, and we're gonna. I'm hoping that brushwood berry comes. I ordered it last week. I'm hoping it comes today or tomorrow, and I'm hoping to do this test, this 8-day trial, as soon as within the next week or so, and then we're going to do another scan to see where we're at. So what else? Some of the good and crazy things that have happened this week. So yesterday, one of the things I've been trying to do is to get housing. Day before yesterday, I discovered that the black mold was back in the bus. So I treated it with bleach, and but coming into the season where it could rain, and I have to find another solution besides the bus. I really need to, my own sanctuary and all, but I need to, move out of this bus anyway. So I've been going around to the social service agencies and trying to find out how they can help, and it's been somewhat frustrating, as you might imagine, literally getting the run around. You go to this office so that you can go to this other, that sends me to another office so that I can speak to a case manager. But in order to speak to a case manager, I've got to go through this orientation that starts at 7:30 in the morning, and it's been all just so that I can, because that first office I went to, they can't deal with me unless I get a referral from the case manager, and I went to 3 agencies just trying to see a case manager to get through this. One, they said, well, we don't have an orientation, we don't know when our next orientation is, and you can go over here, and they sent me to this other office, and I go there, and it's like, well, if you have a diagnosis for mental illness, then we can take you right away. But otherwise, and it's like, well, no, I'm not crazy. And I've actually talked to a couple of people that got Section 8 housing, and I talked to this brother there's a Section 8 housing building that's right about 50 yards from where my car is parked, and in fact, it's the brother that gave me the bicycle, and I just went up to him one morning. I was like, did you wait for 10 years? Because it's a 10-year wait. I mean, excuse me. The waiting list has been closed for 10 years. And so if you weren't on the list in 2009, you are basically SOL. So I went to this guy and I was like, how did you get in here? Because did you wait for 10 years? Were you on the list in 2009? He's like, no, I waited for 6 years. And finally, he talked to some counselor and everything, and she said, she sent him through this mental health avenue. It's like, so he says, you have to kind of play crazy. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. But he did. He played crazy, and he got through this special mental health unit that's designed for crazy street people to get housing, and that's how he got a Section 8 voucher. So people wonder, they look around Venice and they're like, why are there so many homeless people? That's why. If the solutions are non-existent, what do you expect people to do? This is a backlog of people waiting for 10 years or whatever till they can't stand being on the street, and they go nuts and whatever. I mean, I know people that have gone nuts actually being on the street. So anyway, blah blah. So yesterday my plan was to go and check out some of these agencies. I'm just trying to find out what's available. I'm just trying to gather information. I haven't even gotten to the point where there's filling out any sort of application yet. It's just trying to, anyway, it's kind of frustrating, as you can tell. So I get out of my car and I go to get my bicycle, and there is the seat is gone. Somebody stole my friggin' bike seat. With me in the car, most likely sleeping. And so I had to run around and, get that straightened out. And finally I got it all straightened out. I got a, new bike seat, and luckily I had the cash to do that. And what here's a good thing. So I go to John Riley, my good friend John Riley, God bless him. He's invented the live stream generator, and he set it up so that he's got a version of it where I can apply it directly to my neck, and he said, come on by whenever you feel like it. And so I was checking out, trying to check out one of these housing options, and I was in Santa Monica, and I sent him a text to see if he was around, and I didn't hear anything, and so I was in the neighborhood, relatively speaking, and I just kind of wanted to see if I could ride my bike all the way up there, because when I say up there, it's like it's uphill, and it's a bit of an exertion, but I just felt like I needed to do it, so I rode up there and I made it, and didn't bleed, which is good, and a knock on the door. I could hear he was in there, right? So and he's like, he opens the door, and I look past him, and I remember we had dinner a couple of days ago, and he was telling me that somebody was going to be visiting, and I totally forgot about that. And he invited me in, and he's treating Lawrence Fishburne. Yes, Morpheus from the from the Matrix. So there's John and me and Morpheus, and which was really friggin' amazing. We all look like brothers. I wish we'd taken a photograph, but there's a photograph of John and Morpheus. And Lawrence together, and we sat around and talked for a while, and then John did a treatment on him, and then they left, and I did a treatment on me. And the good thing is John is troubleshooting my computer, which is really important because there's 2 manuscripts, and my latest album is in there, and I need to master it. I can't get any of that stuff out of there. But it's the prognosis on the computer is good. We bought a battery. Got a battery for this. This is a late 2008 MacBook Pro for like $38 online. I'm like, whoa, yeah. If I'd known that, I would have gotten one sooner. But anyway, hopefully that'll be here today. Maybe in the next day or so, we'll see if it's working. If that's a solution. Otherwise, yeah. We're going to go with battery is the problem, and replace the battery. Because I'm really ready to finish the nonfiction manuscript and release that album, hopefully before the end of the year. And the other thing in there is there's a novel that it's writing novels is like it's so much fun. It's like candy. It's like eating candy, or good fruit, I should say. Yeah. So, it's when I'm at that point in this where I'm like, okay, what did I forget? Oh yeah, all right. So, mold in the bus, and got to find another solution. Housing here, if I were to get an apartment, I could probably get one for about $2,000 a month here in Venice. And in fact, John is moving right up this street, right behind. This is that's what do you call that thing? Muscle Beach, right there. And see where it says beach? John is going to be moving right behind there, and he says there's an apartment in there that the guy is willing to rent out for $65 a night, which is the going rate for Airbnb, I guess, off season, which works out to be around $2,000. Anyway, and mold in the bus. I don't really want to spend that kind of money, but that's what it cost. For $5,000 or a little bit more, I could get a Class C RV that I can stand up in, something like a Dolphin, for about $5,000. I looked at it on Craigslist and whatnot. So one of those solutions would be good. I've seen Dodge Sprinters that you can stand up in for around $10,000. Used. So anyway, I'm starting a GoFundMe campaign called David's Wonder Fund. It's got a catchy name, huh? And this is to help me resolve this housing dilemma, where especially if I need to do the turnouts that I need to do the radiation. I need to, I think it's, about 10 miles that way. I'm going to need to, it takes 2 hours on the bus to get to the doctor in Torrance. So it's like 4 hours round trip on public transit just to get to see this doctor. And I think this treatment facility for the radiation that would be every day, 5 days a week, is like, it's even further out into the matrix of friggin' South Central LA, or Southern LA anyway. So I need a car that works. This car, it can barely make it for street cleaning, but it has definitely been a magnificent sanctuary. I'm so grateful for. At the end of the day, at least I have that to crawl back up into. I might have to do the boardwalk again, just to kind of raise it up, I don't want to have to do that, especially this time of year. This is the slowest time of year from now until Christmas, and which reminds me. So I want to give a little heads up that it has to do with me, but it's also about the whole world, what's going on in the world right now. I just happen to be the poster child for it. So Saturn is at around 17 degrees Capricorn right now, and it's moving through Capricorn, and it's coming into final conjunction with Pluto, which it will do around the 13th of January 2020. And on that day, the Sun will be in conjunction with Saturn and Pluto and Mercury and Sirius at around 22 degrees Capricorn. And so all the craziness that we've seen up till this point over the past year, but especially over the past couple of months with regards to power structures and Pluto, the basic structure of the world, Saturn, will all be coming to a head over the next 2 months as these planets come into conjunction at 22 degrees Capricorn, which 21 degrees and some change is my ascendant. It's like 2154 is my ascendant. So one way or the other, there's going to be some resolution in my situation and in regards to this whole presidential craziness, impeachment craziness and whatnot. It's all going to be resolving around the same time. What was hidden will be revealed. All will be revealed. And so I had this weekend I went into deep meditations and discovered some things. I actually did what I guess you would call psychic surgery on myself, where I went into the causal plane and the astral plane and the etheric plane and performed the same operation on all three planes, of putting my hands into myself and feeling what this thing is, gaining an understanding of what it is energetically and what it means and all that. What does it mean spiritually? And then I started to pull it out, and it felt like a big water balloon, very sticky water balloon that's got way too much water in it. And I was trying to pull it out and everything, and then something said, just turn it to light. So I just turned it all to light and just kind of blasted it out with all this, with this white light. It was freaking amazing. And afterwards, when I finally opened up my eyes, after doing the same operation on all three planes of existence, opened up my eyes and I sat up, and I really felt like something had shifted. Something, I mean, I hear people say that all the time. I felt something shift. But literally, it felt like different. And in my throat, like the way I swallowed and everything. I'm kind of wearing myself out here with all this, but it felt like it was important. So here we are. So my focus is to continue going deeper into, the spiritual significance of these, what's transpiring here, because I recognize, this is my shamanic journey, and that's what cancer is. It's a shamanic journey. That's what death is, and life. Life is a shamanic journey, whether we recognize it or not. And I feel like I feel very blessed. Not the least of which because I'm not in a lot of pain. I know that it could be a whole lot worse. Not saying that there haven't been some moments. It's very strange to feel like I'm strangling myself, but I'm responsible. This is what I've chosen, and I don't feel, as I've said before, I don't feel like a victim. I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with my time, and making the most of it. Oh yeah, so I just released chapter 8, episode 8 of Enoch, just before I did this. Finished drawing it yesterday, and it had it's Mercury retrograde right now, in case you didn't know, but I think we've got another week or so till I think the 21st or around in there. And yeah, that kind of explains a lot of the, Mercury retrograde is a time when it's a perfect time for inner communication, but outward communication can be very challenged. And Monday was the day of the Mercury transit, and it's kind of like an eclipse of the sun by Mercury, but obviously Mercury isn't that big. So, I mean, it appears as just a little dot, but it passes between the Earth and the Sun. And so the energies of Mercury are really accentuated, and that day was the day that I did the psychic surgery here on the beach. And and I had had some falling outs with people, but in a good way, in a way that it needed to, I needed to be more in my own thing. And I heard from people I haven't heard from, and some really clear communications, and so I very much feel like I'm in the right place, doing the right thing, and on time. And I still feel healthy and alive, and I meant to do this standing on my head. But it's a good thing I did. I mean, man, it's kind of long. I'm sorry about that. But there was a lot to cover. And anyway, I'll be posting this on YouTube right after this, and then I'll be posting it on this GoFundMe thing. And kind of torn of what to ask for as far as the money goes. I think you should ask for what you really need, and try not to ask for not enough, because then whatever. So I think I'm going to ask for $25,000, and that would be rent for 6 months to a year if I get a place, and enough money to get a car that works, so that I can, if I have to, I can make it to these radiation treatments if that becomes necessary. But either way, I can move out of the bus and give the bus back to Marco, who loaned it to me, and not be challenging myself with this black mold at this time. As we come into the winter months when it's wet here. So that's what I'm going to ask for. So there, take that. I love you, and I'll see you. And right now we're going to do the beaming. So this is me loving you. Thank you.